It is 3 p.m. Tuesday here in Seoul. I'm Noah Dam. Thank you for tuning in to Arirang News. We start with the latest on the coronavirus outbreak gripping South Korea. Right now, the number of confirmed patients with COVID-19 is approaching 5,000, with even more deaths being reported as well. We connect to our Hong Yu, who is standing by on the line for us. Yu, what's the latest?
Adam, this morning there was another death from the coronavirus, bringing the domestic death toll up to 29. The latest death is a 78-year-old man who was being treated in an intensive care unit at a hospital in Daegu after he had tested positive for the virus. He had been in hospital since Sunday and his conditions worsened on Tuesday. He is known to have had diabetes, pneumonia, and high blood pressure. Currently, the number of confirmed COVID-19 cases stands at 4,812. That is an increase of 600 patients since midnight. According to the Central Disease Control Headquarters on Tuesday, of the new cases, around 520 patients were in Daegu, bringing the total number in Daegu alone to 3,600. The surrounding Gyeongsang-Buk-do province saw 61 new cases, bringing its total to 685. There were 2 more cases in Seoul. The total number of the cases in the capital now stands at 98, so Seoul is edging ever closer to 100 cases.
Yes, Yu, the numbers are certainly soaring. How is the government assessing the situation, and what is it doing now to fight this outbreak?
South Korea's health authorities say the community-based spread of the virus in Daegu is serious, and considering the virus incubation period of the followers of the Shincheonji religious group, the next 1 to 2 weeks will be a critical period in containing the spread. Until now, health authorities have contacted 99% of the country's Shincheonji followers and tested those with symptoms. Outside of Daegu and Gyeongsang-Buk-do province, only 1.7% of them have tested positive. Now, the government will conduct more tests on other citizens in Daegu. They have tested 11,000 people in Daegu in the last 7 days. The government will also secure more treatment centers by early next week so they can hospitalize 2,000 more patients. That's it for now, and I'll be back with more details in our later newscast. Back to you.
Our Hong Yu on the line for us with the latest updates on COVID-19 in South Korea. Thank you, Yu. In the U.S., meanwhile, 6 people have died in the state of Washington, and the country as a whole now has more than 100 cases. 4 of the dead were residents at a nursing home in Kirkland in the suburbs of Seattle. The 6 deaths in the state are the only ones in America so far. In Europe, the pace of new COVID-19 infections continues to surge in Italy, with the country's death toll rising by 18 on Monday to now 52. The number of confirmed cases there has topped 2,000. Meanwhile, in China, the epicenter of the outbreak, the infection seems to be slowing down. It reported only 125 new cases on Tuesday, the lowest since January. U.S. Vice President Mike Pence says all travelers heading to the U.S. from South Korea and Italy will face stricter medical checks before departure as cases continue to rise in the 2 countries. Flights between South Korea and Italy are also being suspended. Our Oh Jung-hee reports.
Since 12 a.m. on Tuesday morning, all passengers heading to the United States from South Korea are being checked on their health conditions to prevent the spread of the coronavirus.
By establishing the screening protocol, which will be in full force and effect within the next 12 hours in both countries, will ensure that anyone traveling on a direct flight to the United States of America receives multiple screenings at all airports in Italy and South Korea.
Travel restrictions on travelers coming from Italy and South Korea could be stepped up further. Meeting with executives of 10 pharmaceutical companies on Monday, President Trump said,
President, are you considering tightening any of the travel regulations that you sent?
Yes, we are to certain countries where they have more of a breakout. We are, you know what those countries are, I don't have to say, but we are doing that. And we've already done it, as you know, with 3 countries in addition to China. So we will be doing that.
Over the weekend, the U.S. raised its travel advisory to the highest level of 4, do not travel, for South Korea's Daegu City and Italy's Lombardy and Veneto regions due to the level of community transmission. The rest of South Korea and Italy remain at level 3, reconsider travel. As cases soar in South Korea and Italy, South Korean airlines are suspending direct flights to and from Rome starting later this week. Korean Air is halting such flights until late April and Asiana Airlines until late March. Korean Air's flights to Milan are to be suspended from Friday, and Asiana Airlines has already halted its flights to Venice since Sunday. 36 countries around the world are banning entry of travelers coming from South Korea. 51 others have stepped up quarantine measures with stricter health checks on travelers or isolation upon arrival. 오정희, Arirang News.
President Moon Jae-in has ordered the government to solve the face mask shortage in the country as soon as possible. Speaking at a cabinet meeting earlier today, Moon said he felt sorry for those who are unable to get face masks despite the government supplying them at designated retailers. He called on officials to consider measures to ensure that masks are supplied fairly. The president also called for the swift passage of a supplementary budget bill that the government plans to submit to the National Assembly this week. Moon says the government will provide $25 billion worth of support to spur domestic consumption and ease the burden for small business owners, as well as support quarantine and treatment efforts. He also called on government agencies to operate 24/7. International organizations are warning countries of the global economic impact of COVID-19. This comes as the OECD slashed its 2020 growth outlook for South Korea to just 2%. Kim Yo-sun reports.
The head of the World Trade Organization says the COVID-19 outbreak may have a, quote, substantial impact on the global economy. Addressing the heads of delegations in Geneva on Monday, Roberto Azevedo explained the issues will begin to show in trade data released in the weeks to come. However, he added the WTO ministerial meeting scheduled to be held in Kazakhstan in June will proceed as planned, stressing that a successful outcome will be crucial to enhance the credibility of the international organization. The International Monetary Fund and the World Bank said in a joint statement on Monday that they stand ready to help member countries address the human and economic challenges posed by the outbreak. They said they will focus on poor countries that have weak public health systems. The European Central Bank also became the latest central bank to hint at monetary policy action in order to mitigate the potential economic fallout caused by the outbreak. The vice president of ECB said Monday that the bank will be closely monitoring all incoming data, warning of an impact on euro area exports as well as a disruption to global supply chains. Meanwhile, the OECD has slashed its growth outlook for South Korea this year to 2% amid the rapid spread of the coronavirus in the nation. This is down from its previous forecast of 2.3% in November. The OECD, however, forecasts that the country would experience 2.3% growth in 2021, unchanged from its previous estimate. The OECD also stated that South Korea could face a relatively larger impact from the outbreak as it's closely interconnected to China, with the world's second-largest economy accounting for a quarter of all Seoul's exports. The OECD said governments must act immediately to protect their people and businesses from the spread of the coronavirus. Kim Yo-sun, Arirang News.
The Pentagon says it's prepared to deal with all kinds of scenarios, including the coronavirus becoming a pandemic, and said it has sent additional medical personnel and equipment to its troops in South Korea to help fight the outbreak. U.S. Joint Chiefs of Staff Chairman General Mark Milley at a joint press briefing with Defense Secretary Mark Esper on Monday said personnel and supplies, including masks, gloves and gowns, were sent at Esper's direction, with priority distribution going to South Korea. Esper said he has been holding daily meetings with Pentagon officials for the past 6 weeks to come up with measures to deal with the outbreak. Milley said they are considering changes to military exercises in regions other than Korea. Now, following North Korea's projectile launches on Monday, the regime has now come out to say its leader Kim Jong-un oversaw the test launch of what is believed to be a super-large multiple rocket launcher. But why has the North decided to carry out such a provocation amid the coronavirus outbreak? Our Oh Soo-young turned to an expert.
North Korea's latest projectile launch may have been a show of strength amid the spread of the coronavirus. Amid speculation that the COVID-19 outbreak could devastate the North Korean population, which is already suffering from poor health and malnutrition, expert Dr. Mark Barry told Arirang News the launch may have been designed to prove otherwise.
Kim Jong-un surely senses that the world thinks, oh, North Korea must be totally encumbered and overwhelmed with coronavirus concerns, And although all his generals were wearing masks in the pictures that were released yesterday, the reality is that he probably was trying to show to the world and to the president as well that we're here and we're going to be continuing our testing, especially since you Americans have announced a postponement of your joint military exercises, which are normally scheduled for March.
It's not only the global community that's concerned about the COVID-19 outbreak. North Koreans could face a significant economic downturn. Sealing the country's borders to keep out the virus is likely to cause a drastic drop in trade with its economic lifeline, China. Dr. Barry says the launch could also be a strategic move to offset the regime's heavy dependence on Beijing.
Always, the seeking of attention is to engage the United States in a way that it can balance, in my view, the enormous pressure from China. Because in the long run, the DPRK, the more it relies on China, the more it risks a progressive loss of economic and political sovereignty. So the United States is extremely important and always has been, but especially in this age of President Xi Jinping and the emergence of a very strong Chinese hegemonic power in the region.
But will Pyongyang's provocation get the attention the regime seeks? Experts say as both China and the US respond to the COVID-19 outbreak and other domestic issues such as the US presidential elections, the North Korean agenda won't be high on their list of priorities. Meanwhile, the North State-run Korean Central News Agency on Tuesday said Kim Jong-un himself had inspected a long-range artillery unit drill when the projectiles were launched. North Korea last year conducted 13 weapons tests but has been relatively silent over the last 3 months. 오수영, Arirang News.
South Korea's gross national income last year posted its slowest growth in more than 2 decades. The Bank of Korea says that per capita income was just over $32,000, down more than 4% from the year before. The BOK blamed the drop largely on the strengthening US dollar in 2019, which was up near 6% on year. However, the country's annual on-year GDP growth in 2019 remained unchanged at 2%. The BOK has downgraded its growth outlook for this year to 2.1% in light of the coronavirus outbreak. Meanwhile, consumer price growth in South Korea remained in the 1% range for the second straight month in February. According to Statistics Korea, the country's consumer prices rose 1.1% on year last month, slowing down from the 1.5% on-year growth posted in January. The agency said the coronavirus outbreak limited price growth in the service sector to just 0.4%, the lowest increase since December 1999. Prices of agricultural and fisheries products edged up a little, while gas, electricity and water prices rose 1.6%. Industrial goods prices jumped over 2% on year. BTS have landed at the number 4 on Billboard's Hot 100 singles chart with their new single On. According to Billboard on Monday, the group soared its third Hot 100 top 10 hit and the highest charting song ever for a K-pop group. Their previous highest ranking was number 8, achieved with Boy With Love last April. Along with the lead track, 2 more singles from the group's new album Map of the Soul 7 were in the charts. My Time and Filter took the 84th and 87th spots respectively. BTS beat their own record and are now the first Korean artist to have 3 songs in the Hot 100 at the same time. Okay, that's all the news for this hour. Join us again at 5 p.m. Korea time for more Arirang news. Until then, goodbye.
(2020) New Arirang. Arirang TV's programs. Arirang News brought to you Monday through Friday. Arirang's news presenters will deliver the latest news with a specific focus in each time slot. Experts from various parts of the globe analyze issues in Korea and around the world from different angles via Skype. Also, experts from diverse fields offer their sharp insights on the current issues in Korea on News in Depth. Discover a new side of K-pop stars on the TV version of multilingual online content Rolling in K-pop. To all the fans of Arirang's beloved music program Pops in Seoul, you can now watch your favorite show on weekends as well. Fall deeper into Korean culture through Arirang's culture and information programs. Stay in the loop on Korea's latest trends and issues and receive helpful tips on life in Korea. Learn about outstanding Korean SMEs leading the market in the era of the Fourth Industrial Revolution. Enjoy Arirang TV's programs.